The debate between Noam Chomsky and Michel Foucault is often described as a meeting of two powerful minds, but upon closer inspection, we can see that Chomsky was using science when discussing human biology and notions of justice when discussing revolutionary social movements. But Foucault disagrees with saying anything definitive about what humans are or what they can do because, since ideas are simply social constructions, one day we might find our concepts of human nature were wrong.
Free your mind.
Il est vrai que je me méfie un peu de cette notion de nature humaine. Un nombre d'obstacles, un certain nombre de préjugés, un certain nombre d'idées toutes faites tombent et viennent à disparaître. Mais ce qui m'a frappé, c'est que une science, au moment où elle naît, non seulement se débarrasse d'un certain nombre d'obstacles et d'obscurités, mais en même temps, elle supprime un certain nombre de savoirs et de connaissances existants.
Essentially, Foucault says scientists are always discovering something new, but also ignoring other information depending on what suits them best in relation to their specific social influences in the period of time in which they live. Chomsky believes that although we need social relations, human mental abilities such as language or mathematics are actually ingrained in our biology, our human nature.
How is it that we're able to construct any kind of scientific theory at all? This is a remarkable fact. And in fact, if it were not the case that these scientists, including the geniuses, if they didn't have built into their minds somehow, obviously unconscious, specification of what is a possible scientific theory, then this inductive leap would certainly be quite impossible. Just as if each child did not have built into his mind the concept of human language in a very natural way, in a very narrowing way, then the inductive leap from data to knowledge of a language would be impossible.
Foucault then makes clear that he also believes there are rules and limitations to human life, but he disagrees that these rules and limitations can be found inside the human mind. Foucault believes human behavior, such as a creative act, can only come from outside of the mind through social interaction.
C'est pas une affaire de combinaison. Il n'y a de créativité possible qu'à partir d'un système de règles. Le problème, alors, là, que je me pose, et où je ne suis pas peut-être tout à fait d'accord avec M. Chomsky, c'est lorsqu'il place ces régularités à l'intérieur, en quelque sorte, de l'esprit ou de la nature humaine. Je me demande si le système de régularité, de contraintes, qui rendent possible une science, on ne peut pas les trouver ailleurs, en dehors même de l'esprit humain, dans des formes sociales, dans des rapports de production, dans des luttes de classe, etc.
It's true that certain social factors influence individuals to do certain things.
And without knowing why she's doing it, this woman is now conforming perfectly to the group.
But if you put an orangutan in the exact same social situation, the resulting behavior will be completely different. The orangutan will not discover mathematical concepts or write a book on capitalism. This means that there is some unique element in human biology that allows humans to interact in very special ways with their social environment. Chomsky believes one special element of human nature, which is inside the human mind, is our need to be curious, to investigate, and to create freely. From this, Chomsky concludes that people should govern themselves instead of following orders which are handed down by oppressive institutions.
Oh, for what?
Listen, I'm trying to be cool.
What?
You're dancing in the street. Technically.
So what? I'm dancing in the street.
Yes. Hold on, woman. You're not free to go.
Get up by myself. Let me go.
Let us help you.
If it is correct, as I believe it is, that a fundamental element of human nature is the need for creative work, for creative inquiry, for free creation without the arbitrary limiting effects of coercive institutions, then of course it will follow that a decent society should maximize the possibilities for this fundamental human characteristic to be realized.
Thinking about an ideal future society is not important to Foucault because he doesn't believe in the ideas of fairness and justice. He does, however, believe the working class should gain power, but not on the basis of wanting justice.
Il faut attaquer les pratiques de la justice, il faut attaquer la police, il faut attaquer les pratiques policières, mais en termes de guerre et non pas en termes de justice.
But you see, surely you believe that your role in the war is a just role. And that, I think, is important. If you thought that you were fighting an unjust war, you couldn't follow that line of reasoning, that this violence is being exercised because a more just result is going to be achieved. If it does not have that grounding, it really is totally immoral, in my opinion.
Je ne suis ce que le prolétariat veut faire en chassant la classe actuellement au pouvoir et en prenant pour lui le pouvoir, c'est la suppression précisément d'un pouvoir de classe en général.
Okay.
Car le prolétariat...
That's the further justification.
Hein?
That is the further justification.
Ça c'est la justification, mais pas en termes de justice, en termes de pouvoir.
But it is in terms of justice. It's because the end that will be achieved, it is claimed, is a just end. The idea is, and as for reasons I mentioned, I'm skeptical about it, that a period of violent dictatorship, of perhaps violent and bloody dictatorship, is justified because that will mean the submergence and termination of class oppression, a proper end to achieve in human life.
Chomsky makes the obvious point that people don't fight for the sake of fighting. People always have in their mind the hope of an ideal, better future.
Simplement ceci, je ne peux pas m'empêcher, contrairement à ce que vous pensez, je ne peux pas m'empêcher de croire que cette notion de nature humaine, cette notion de bonté, de justice, d'essence humaine, de réalisation de l'essence humaine, tout ça, ce sont des notions et des concepts qui ont été formés à l'intérieur de notre civilisation, dans notre type de savoir, dans notre forme de philosophie, et que par conséquent, ça fait partie même de notre système de classe, et qu'on ne peut pas, aussi regrettable que ce soit, on ne peut pas faire valoir ces notions pour décrire ou justifier un combat qui doit en principe bouleverser les fondements mêmes de notre société.
In other words, does it make sense that we can use the ideas of our imperfect present society in order to overthrow our imperfect present society?
And what's that you're reading?
Karl Marx?
Can we even trust our own ideas? What if they're illusions brought about by societal influences? Chomsky doesn't answer this right away, but discusses the topic when an audience member asks a similar question.
There is imperial terror and aggression. There is exploitation. There is racism. Lots of things like that. But there's also a real concern coexisting with it for individual rights. Now, these things coexist, you know. It's not that simple. It's not just all bad or all good. There are people who argue, and I've never understood the logic of this, that a radical ought to dissociate himself from all oppressive institutions. That is, the logic of that argument is that Karl Marx shouldn't have studied in the British Museum, which, if anything, was the symbol of, you know, the most vicious imperialism in the world, the place where all the treasures of empire were gathered, you know, the rape of the colonies was all poured in there, and so on and so forth. But I think Karl Marx was quite right in studying in the British Museum. He was right in using the resources and, in fact, the liberal values of the civilization that he was trying to overcome against it. And I think the same applies in this case.
Karl Marx?
Surely you're not a communist.
Do I have to be a communist to read Karl Marx?